Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Me and Benji talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad. It's the last of our IPL team previews, team analyses that we've been doing. Right, so Sunrisers. Straight away, there have been some interesting developments with the squad since the auction. They obviously splashed out for Pat Cummins and have since demoted Aidan Markram from being the captain, even though he is the captain of their Sunrisers Eastern Cape franchise, which is, I believe, the most successful franchise because aren't they two-time champions now?
Two out of two.
Yeah. So, he's a successful captain, but sacking him off, put Pat Cummins in instead, and Pat Cummins is now the captain. Um, let's go straight away with some strengths. Benji, tell me what is strong about Sunrisers.
Well, I think one obvious strength is they signed Hasaranga, who, that he was up for grabs in this auction. There was a lot of talk around, is Hasaranga going to play? Who's going to pick him up? And Sunrisers did, and a great pickup. They have so many, like on paper, they've got a very strong side, right? They've got lots of players. They've got no real gaps in their lineup. If you look at their batting, they've got strong top order, they've got strong middle order, they've got great all rounders, even though, the days of the all rounder seems to be waning with the impact player rule. And then their bowling is good, they have Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Natarajan, which have always, been that core of their Indian pace attack. Umran Malik chucking down absolute rockets as well. They just have a good spread all the way through, and now they've got some real world class players. We've got. I mean, they've had world class players in the past with Rashid Khan, Johnny Bairstow, David Warner, but now we're talking about Pat Cummins, we're talking about Hasaranga, we're talking about Aidan Markram. Actually, out of their overseas slots, I think they've potentially got the strongest overseas lineup, I would say, out of any of the IPL teams. I think their squad for the overseas looks fantastic. You would want to play them all, really. It's a shame that it's difficult to only pick four.
Hmm.
So they seem very balanced. I think if we are talking about any sort of weaknesses, it's that their quality of their Indian players isn't quite as high, I would say. I don't know what you think about strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, so I'll get onto their Indian players in a minute. But the main strength you kind of like sort of hinted at there, which was you want to fit all the overseas in, but you
Mm,
can't, and it's a struggle picking four. And it's those selection issues that I think are the biggest issue that Sunrisers are going to face, because I think it's well established at this point that in order to have success in the IPL, you want to pretty early on figure out who's going to be at least like nine out of the 11 starting players. You need to figure out that core, and then giving those players that the same role so that they know exactly what they're doing, complete role definition. We've seen it with Mumbai Indians, we've seen it with Chennai. It means that they can they can fulfill that role. They've got complete clarity in what they need to do every time, and they can focus their energy on that. Sunrisers are in a bit of an awkward situation where I reckon I could make 12 different iterations of that
mm,
Sunrisers squad, and none of which would look particularly stronger than the other. And that is obviously a really good thing, but it could be a bad thing because it could lend itself to getting chopped and changed. The other weakness that I'd say is having Pat Cummins as captain, because I wouldn't say he's one of the best T20 players in the world. I would actually say he's without a doubt one of the greatest test players in the world. And even ODI, he's like okay, but I'd say T20, he's like he can swing a bat. We've seen that. We've had some explosive half centuries from him before. But bowling, he's quite often really expensive. And
mm.
in general, it's not a great idea to have an overseas captain when when you're in the IPL, because it means that if if that overseas captain is having a bad run of form, you still have to carry on playing them, and that is obviously a really valuable slot. Um, I'll get onto the Indian players because I actually think they've got some incredible players waiting in the wings. Um,
Mm.
I wrote a list of people that I wanted Punjab to go for, or just people in general that I thought would be really explosive players based on their performances inside Mushtaq Ali Trophy, things like that. And one of those players is Sanveer Singh. He is an all rounder. He bowls right arm medium and he's a right handed batter. And his stats for quite a while now have been very, very impressive. He averages 43 with the bat in T20s
Wow.
at a strike rate of 192, and he can bowl a bit as well.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, he has been very good recently as well. So he's got form with him. Another player is where is he now? Upendra Yadav, who is a wicketkeeper batsman and another quite explosive player. I believe in the recent side Mushtaq Ali Trophy, he performed incredibly well. So straight away there are two players there that I actually have in my starting 11 because I think they're quite exciting. At the same time, you've got some of the more well-known ones like Mayank Agarwal, Rahul Tripathi, neither of which had a great season last year, which
Mm.
I think is what you were getting at, where it was that Indian top order that just kind of failed a little bit. And then they've got some exciting bowlers as well. Umran Malik, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, can't speak. Bhuvaneshwar
Booby.
Kumar, Natarajan, Mayank Markande is a very good leg spinner. And then, yeah, lots of bits and pieces all rounders. Abhishek Sharma as well was another one that was absolutely incredible in the Side Mushtaq Ali
Yeah.
Trophy. I
Yeah.
think he might have been like second or something in the top scores. Um, so it does beg the question, and I think this is where we should spend the bulk of the time anyway. What have you written as the starting 11 with impact players, so starting 12 of Sunrisers Hyderabad?
It's
Because it's
it's really
not
hard.
easy. It's not
It's really
easy.
hard, and I think that you and I are going to have completely different things here. I think what you have is it's hard to balance the Indian with the overseas talent because you haven't really got any of that Indian first team international squad. Like that's not really part of what Sunrisers have, but they do have such a strong overseas contingent. So you may disagree with what I have. I've got Mayank Agarwal and Travis Head opening the batting. Travis Head, if he's there, this is their best 11 essentially. I think he is going to be there for the start because he's missing out on the last bit of the Sheffield Shield. Rao Tripathi at number 3 with Aidan Markram at number 4. And controversially, I've left out both Heinrich Klaassen and Glenn Phillips, which, you know, we'll see how that goes. I've then got Adil Samad and Washington Sundar 5 and 6. Hasaranga I've put in at 7 because he is just such a quality player. We've seen him perform well in T20s all the way through. Arguably, you could leave him out and add in Marco Janssen or Glenn Phillips. It's so interchangeable. I've then gone Abhishek Sharma because I couldn't leave him out. Pat Cummins, Captain Cummins, and then Bhuvi and Natarajan. And that was my batting first team with Umran Malik as my impact player.
Okay, I like that. Mine is completely different.
I
uh,
Yes.
yeah, which we kind of saw coming. So I had Abhishek Sharma and Mayank Agarwal opening. Abhishek, I think he opens for Punjab, and
Oh, right.
he's proven himself in that role, and he's young as well. I can see him playing for India someday. Well, depending on whether or not he can get in with Gill and Jaiswal having a
Yeah.
monopoly on that. So yeah, Abhishek and Mayank opening, Rahul Tripathi at 3, Heinrich Klaassen at 4. I think he is at the moment the most informed T20 batsman, and I
Mm.
could not leave him out. I put Sanveer Singh at 5 and Upendra Yadav at 6, which I do realise is an inexperienced middle order there, or 5 and 6. So it is a risk, but it's because I wanted to get the two bowling all rounders in Marco Jansen and Wanindu Hasaranga da Silva
Mm.
at 7 and 8. I had to have Pat Cummins at 9. Honestly, I would have dropped him and had probably Travis Head up the order, or Aidan Markram, Glenn Phillips, anybody else, to be honest. And then Bhuvi at 10, Umar Malik 11, and I had Mayank Markande as my impact player. So right there with Markande, Umar Malik, Bhuvi, Cummins, Hasaranga, and Janssen, I've got 6 incredibly
Mm.
good bowlers that it gives Cummins a lot of flexibility. If he ends up bowling his first 2 overs and going for 20, he can call on the experience of Bhuvi or the just raw pace of Umran Malik, and it gives him that freedom. I think the only issue with my 11 is that the batting isn't super deep. Like, you've got Marco Jansen at 7 and then Hasaranga at 8, but Hasaranga doesn't seem to be that trusted by a lot of franchises.
Mm. To
Um,
bat.
yeah, his batting like goes either way. So really, really interested to see it. Uh, yeah, I think if you in the comments can just write down what your best 11 would be, because I'm super interested to see who you'd pick, because we just picked drastically different sides, and I if our sides faced off against each other, I don't know who would win, and
No,
that's the state of it.
I've also realised that I've not included the wicketkeeper either. So I'll probably have to swap a Penjayada for Amalpreet Singh, but there we go. No, sorry, Abdul Samad. But yeah, it's a wildly interesting team, and I think this probably leads into where we've placed them, because I don't think either of us have placed them particularly high. I have them coming in at eighth, and I think while there's a lot of talent in that side, that it's going to take a long time for them to find out their balance. I would think if every person that watched the video commented a Sunrisers 11, a Sunrisers 12, they'd all be different. I can't see us finding agreement. So it'll be very interesting to see what they actually do for the start of the tournament. Wherever you place them, James.
I have put them in, and purely because of um this selection headache that I had. I just don't think it's as easy to balance the side when you have to have Pat Cummins there. So
Mm.
I put them as 7th. I think they're just going to be a fair bit of chopping and changing. That being said, I wouldn't be absolutely like mind blown if they finished 10th. I also wouldn't be mind blown if they finished in the top 4. So they are a very kind of all over the place side, a bit like Punjab Kings actually. They are, yeah, high variance, but that could lend itself to success. So thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think. Please do let us know your 11s or 12s. Uh, don't forget to subscribe. We are going to be covering the IPL in depth. And like the video, tell your friends about us. If you really want to support the channel and get your hands on some exclusive content, then click the membership button that's down in the description. Or if you're on a desktop, I think it's next to the subscribe button that should already be clicked. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.